Alright, what's going on, you guys? My name is BBK Dragoon, coming at you today with a replay review. We're here on Abandon, looking at some V2 Team Slayer and Team Throwdown. Our gameplay player today, our person behind the controller, is none other than Twig, or the African Twig. Today we're going to be talking about his replay review, and my honest, blunt reaction to the gameplay initially, and then how I feel after watching the gameplay, and how I can sort of teach hopefully some lessons throughout this replay. I will be fast forwarding parts of it. So when I first got this gameplay, the email said that the player was having trouble with map positioning and that it's a throwdown gameplay. It didn't mention the score, didn't mention anything like that. So after watching the replay, I watch all of these at least once or twice through before doing it, just so I can jot down some notes. Particularly, I'll keep going, pause my commentary right here, important note. Pass over the railgun and you do actually two incorrect things. Number one, I'm going to speculate here and say that I don't think you called out the railgun, which maybe you're not playing without a mic, no worries there. But then the issue then becomes, as you run forward here, and the way I know nobody calls it out is because the railgun eventually just disappears because nobody comes and picks it up, which is a shame because that's a really awesome weapon to have in your pocket off the beginning of the game, a really easy weapon to have off the beginning of the game. So be careful when you run over those and just assume that a friend or a teammate is going to pick it up. If you're not explicitly with teammates or you don't have a microphone, it's a dangerous assumption and you're throwing away an advantage. It's like having a damage boost or overshield or something like that and just being like somebody else will get that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I watched this gameplay through the first time and it's something like a running riot or a rampage. Which initially really frustrates me when I get replay reviews like that, because number one, I'd much rather look at a gameplay where the player struggles rather than excels. And that, you know, a lot of times replays like that won't even get reviewed. Does that make sense? If it just looks like hot shotting and I can't really do anything to help them, then I won't review it. But that's not the case with this now that I've thought back through this. Twig, you know, it's not map movement. I'll talk about it at the end, but map movement is not where you need to improve, my friend. A little bit of a lag out, it looks like. It's also a 3v4 for most of the game in the blue team's advantage, which frustrates me again because it's like, okay, replay review series. You're not picking an optimal game. You're not picking a 4v4. You're not picking one of those games that I feel like I could really help out. Now, that was my first honest reaction to it. Now that I've seen it, oh my gosh, guys, I'm going to tear this replay apart. So Twig, I'm about to get super critical, man. Please don't take it personal. You did send like a rampage gameplay, which means I'm going to be all over you when it comes to certain things and critiques. So, number one, my friend, we've got to do something about these double melees. It's been a theme this week, and it's now a theme from the last replay review. And later on in the game, we're going to speed it up. You get your ammunition, and it's, of course, 4v3. And so this game takes about 10 minutes when you could have probably ended it in 6. And all the game you spend basically up on this top mid, which is fine if it's a competitive game and you're holding this position down. Again, don't stop ever when you're sniping. Don't ever stop moving when you're sniping, ever. You're lucky against these style of opponents because they're just... The people you're playing are extremely low level. Like, don't ever stop when you snipe. Use your strafe of your sniper to help line your reticle up faster. So the right stick is all about getting it to the right pitch and height, and then the left stick you strafe. And a lot of reach sniping was about lining your shot up with your strafe. So don't ever not move when you're sniping. Also, you're going to notice here that it's 3v4, and one of them's AFK, and you guys are just going to continue to stay up here on the top mid like the whole team. Now, it's okay to, you know, send in the replay review email saying, hey, I need some help with map movement. Let me try and explain, though, what I mean here in these situations. As long as you have just one or two people covering this top middle building, it's extremely easy to get back up to the top. There's an elevator, and if the top's controlled, that means you pretty much have control of the elevator, no duh, right? This area is pretty small and very close to the center, so it's easy to rule out if they're there. If the enemy isn't back here, you guys have the advantage of a player up. You can easily start getting aggressive, and I'm not saying play stupid, but you can jump back here, control the purple, and control the cliff, because obviously a heavy spawn zone. You can drop down into the ring too and see if they're there. I'm just saying there's no need to stay up here and line up these like AFK snipes. Does that make sense? So we'll push forward here. I'm going to fast forward because it's really long, and the concepts I'm explaining are really simple. You've got to work on your gunfighting. Plain and simple, you have to get to the point where if you have the sniper rifle, you need to be comfortable to shoot them, not run at them and pull double melees off, not run at them and rely on the melee to finish kills. You need to finish kills by shooting. You need to shoot the enemy opponent. And I know that sounds rude because it's very self-explanatory, but in a situation like that, screw the double melee, dude. You've got to get more comfortable. The double melee is something we see a lot of players struggle with initially, and it's just because they rely on it. They find out that, hey, double meleeing up close solves a lot of my issues, but lo and behold, it doesn't. It's a lot easier to just shoot people 95% of the time since Halo Reach. The melee leaves you vulnerable for so long that if you like whiff one melee against a strong player, then you're totally in trouble. Now, granted, you've hit a couple okay snipes of players not shooting you, running directly at you, but that's when you're playing harder teams, you're not going to run into these circumstances. So what's funny to me is that, like, this Running Riot gameplay against basically bots, I mean, they're not even shooting you, man. Like, what am I supposed to make of that? That guy looked at you for like 30 minutes and didn't even move. Does that make sense? Yet it still took you an excessively long time to get the snipe over and shoot him. You know, it's one of these things where the pace of the game, you're playing a 10-minute slow-paced defensive game against players that don't even shoot back. You get to rule the map at this point. You go wherever you want, you have whatever weapon you want, and you abuse the enemy any way you want. And so notice when the enemy's moving, a lot of harder time actually getting the snipe off. Don't ever throw the nade in a fight like that. I know it got you the kill there, but just take the DMR out and finish the kill. It's really, really dangerous to throw a grenade when they're one-shot, man. All they gotta do is walk forward 3 feet, and they've instantly won the fight. Instantly, because you're still stuck in the grenade throw animation, which gives them more than enough time to either walk forward 2 or 3 steps or just shoot you. And, like, I think they get enough time for 2 shots during the grenade animation reset. So he's on the cliff, nice snipe. I think there is one cool jumping snipe a little bit later, but this is what I'm talking about. This sums up the whole gameplay, dude. This guy is not a strong player. He's not shooting you. He's totally aware of you. He's not trying to melee you. I don't even know what's going on here. You've got the sniper rifle and the OS, such a crazy advantage, and the height. Yet you opt to run down the bridge, totally exposed. If the red team was full of any good players, very easy to team shoot right now. And then you miss your snipes and come in for a double melee. That is so dangerous, what you did right there. Yes, it worked for you in this gameplay. And what is my overall point? Yes, what you did worked for you in this gameplay and got you like a rampage in a 3v4 against some very, very, very new players. Like, that won't cut it, though, above CSR 20. Stuff like that will get you absolutely murdered. Like, it's so many fundamental rules being broken right there, where it's like, you've got height advantage, you've got sniper, and you've got OS. Use that advantage. By just running down the ramp, you take away the advantage of your height. By going in for the double melee, you take away the advantage of your sniper rifle. And you also reveal to the opponent that you have an overshield, which is something that the longer you can keep to yourself, the better. Like, you want to use it as a surprise. Does that make sense? You reveal yourself to a smart opponent with the OS. That opponent is no longer going to prioritize you in any sort of gunfight. That opponent is going to avoid you, knowing that all I have to do is wait for that OS to, like, time out. Then I'll be on an even playing field with that guy. So, just things to be thinking about, man. I'm not trying to be super mean or rude. That's the good snipe I was talking about. You know, you do have decent aim when you're trying to shoot. I see a lot of flick sniping. If you're not comfortable with the stick, don't flick snipe. Slowly move the stick. Gradually put the crosshair where you think the opponent will be. I'll give you props there. It was a smart move. You saw somebody pulled the sniper rifle, ended up sniping him and picking up the sniper ammo. 3 things that are all very good. But again, 10-minute game that could be done by now. Okay, yeah. There we go. Here's that grenade thing again. This is no longer grenade throwing time, my friend. He knows where you are. He sees you. You throw the nade. There's no surprise in that. Look at that wasted energy. Nothing. Nothing. And then you lose the height advantage. You've got 2 guys on you. You lift back up. Again, very dangerous move. Could be bolt shots up there. They could be crouching up there. Just throwing that out there for you. Get a nice back smack on that guy who was one shot. And I'm only trying to say these things to help you, man, because I'm glad you got a rampage. I'm glad you won this game. I'm glad you asked about map positioning. But to be honest, you need to refine your gun skills, or the games past CSR 20 or 25 are going to be just horribly difficult and frustrating, because the tactics that work in this level of play will not work at the higher level of play. So in retrospect, as this game wraps up here, the things I'd really like to push towards you, man, is number one, really focus on your gunfighting skills and using your advantages. I mean, look at this situation right here, dude. You had the sniper. There's one guy actively pursuing you and shooting you, and during that whole engagement, you prioritize trying to shoot the AFK player. Don't worry about the AFK player. That dude's gonna be there when you get back. So focus on like your priorities within gunfights. Does that make sense? And it's not smart when you have an OS, a sniper, and a height advantage for you to negate all of those and just run in for a double melee. Why? Because it's effective and it's easy, right? The double melee, the higher up you play, is not so easy, and it'll get you killed a lot. In fact, I don't have issues with getting double melee'd almost ever, and it's because of how I position myself and the advantages that I use, the advantages that I have, and knowing when to use those advantages. So, Mr. Twig, well, I thank you for the gameplay. Let's get into the bullet points. First and foremost, Mr. Twig, you got to refine your gunfighting skills. Know when you have the advantages and take advantage of them. If it's a 4v3 situation like you guys had, there's no reason that you have to be static. You need to use that man-up advantage and control the map properly. And I know that's a complicated saying that I say a lot, and it houses a lot of meanings and stuff in it, but it's not only height control and power weapons. If you have a man advantage, you should be dominating every spawn. Every time those guys spawn in, they shouldn't have like 5 steps before they're met with some hot lead from your team, right? If you've got the man up, you've got the ability to easily do that, to cover all the portions of the map, or the like quadrants of the map, even with randoms. So you don't have to worry about playing too static when you've got that ability, right? Also, just be more careful with your advantages and disadvantages. While it worked for you in this gameplay, it will not work for you in the higher levels. Finally, keep practicing. I hope this didn't come across as mean or a little hostile. I just mean it to help you as the player, bro. There's potential there, some really cool snipes. You can't ever say a rampage isn't cool, because rampages are always cool. The opponents you were playing gave you a lot of opportunities. I don't feel like you fully capitalized on them, but I think if you keep practicing, watch your reviews with a really hardcore critical eye, then I foresee no troubles as you progress as a Halo player. So thanks for the replay. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your Friday. I'll be streaming StarCraft 2 tonight, as well as the Smeckledorf live episode going up. You guys seem to be liking that a lot. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. All right. I'm pumped. It's the weekend. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.